Varunya Ilanghovan, Director at OASYS Cybernetics. Do we have Ms. Varunya in the room? We request a couple of minutes while we wait for our speaker. Yes.
Good evening, everybody. I am so happy to be here representing OASYS Cybernetics. I think the esteemed guests on the stage before have set up and have done an incredible job in setting up the stage in moving this conversation forward. And since morning, from the things we've heard, I'd like to double down on two things. One is the question of adoption. We've established that adoption of AI is a very good metric in measuring success, especially within the healthcare industry. And two, data. The importance of quality data to build models that actually give us the right kind of insights, right? And two other questions that were asked is, with all of this said and done, how do we empower a doctor in a tier 2 city to care for his patients or her patients in a better manner? And that's the kind of questions that also OASYS seeks to answer. So today I will be talking a little bit about OASYS, our key projects, our presence in the healthcare space, AI, and just close out with that. So, my deck is not popping up. All right, but it doesn't matter. So OASYS is a leading system integrator, a CMMI level 5 company with over 25 years of experience in e-governance and end-to-end digitization projects, with presence in over 15 states and serving over 300 million beneficiaries across the nation. We have executed very many pioneering projects in healthcare, finance, and public distribution systems. Thank you. Right. Moving on to our key projects. The first one is the public distribution system. I want to talk about this because this was one of the first projects that we executed in a large scale. So we are very proud to say that we handle the database of the entire Tamil Nadu population. So we printed ration cards with QR codes on them, and these were linking Aadhaar and their mobile numbers for the validation purpose. So this way, we can ensure that essential commodities like rice, dal, wheat are dispensed to the deserving population in compliance with the government norms. We do this PDS project in about 4 states in India, and then we have replicated the same thing for fertilizers, and we do that for a bunch of states in India as well. And another key milestone project that we just went live a few months back is the Uttar Pradesh excise management system. So what we've essentially done is build a end-to-end supply chain management system for the government of Uttar Pradesh for 2 purposes. 1, fight against counterfeit liquor in the market, and 2, revenue management for the government, and also to ensure transparency, accuracy, and efficiency of the system. We're very happy to say that 55,000 crore is the revenue that gets processed through our system for the government. And I mention this because, thank you. I mention this because one of the key modules there is track and trace. Now, this track and trace module is built with GS1 standard QR codes, global standard one, which is the highest level of standards for QR codes globally. So these QR codes are built in compliance with the standard and put on high security adhesive labels. Now, when we talk about security features here, we deal with covert, overt. That is security features which are visible to the naked eye, which are not visible to the naked eye, a combination of these depending on the product. So these labels are stuck on each and every bottle so that its journey can be tracked from the manufacturing facility all the way through the supply chain and even post-sale, right? So this kind of visibility gives for the department gives them full control over what is happening to their product at what points, and also helps them establish their 2 goals of anti-counterfeit products and revenue collection. Now, the reason that I mention is the same thing can be replicated for the pharma industry. We can help them bring a lot of authentication, which is like negate or lessen the presence of counterfeit products in the market, which is one of the biggest menaces. And We can also help with the management of expired medicine. Like we can quickly identify and remove medicines which are expired or nearly expiring. And we can also maintain the inventory levels in a way where we know the reorder time, the lead time required for all of this. So this is something that can directly impact the pharma industry or even the cosmetic industry, so to speak, in a very good manner. Now moving on to the core of today, healthcare industry. We do the health management information system for the government of Tamil Nadu, and we do end-to-end. When I say end-to-end, we do clinical modules, non-clinical modules. Like when you talk about a hospital and you talk about management, any module that you can think of is within our system. And to give you a little bit more information, in Tamil Nadu, it's interesting because a single agency acts across all the 4 layers, like state hospitals, taluk, primary, district hospitals. Now, this is an important distinction because the level of digitization or the nature of people that come to each of this is different. Now, just to summarize the situation, on the y-axis, we have all the modules from clinical to non-clinical, and on the x-axis, we have all these 4 layers of hospitals. Now, we are present in this entire ecosystem. Now, this presents a very interesting situation. A person is able to move across the system, these different layers of hospitals, seamlessly because they have a unique ID and by extension, a unified EMR where all of their information is stored at the click of a single button. And by all your prescriptions, your lab tests, the first X-ray you took, the X-ray you took like 3 days ago, all of this information is present in one click of a button. And another thing that I'd like to double down here is this is not just people who are tech savvy, who know what to show which doctor. These are people who are probably not super comfortable expressing even their concerns or are a little bit not very aware of the system. So this is the kind of AI and this is the kind of deep reach that OASYS has in this space and it wants to bring these changes in. Now, having said that, moving over to AI in healthcare, right? So I know this is bringing a lot of transformative good effects, but for ease of today's conversation, we'd like to focus on 3 major KPIs, so to speak. One is personalization, the second is efficiency, and the third is accuracy. And we'd like to move forward with this conversation, focusing on these 5 main stakeholders, which is patients, doctors, hospital, insurance, and pharmacy. For the first one, when we talk about patients, right? Since morning, we've heard a lot about what AI possibly can do, and that's all amazing things, like personalized health plans and also early detection of diseases. But one of the things that we'd like to bring to the table here is it is not that an overhaul of a system is needed to bring in value. Sometimes very calculated improvements in incremental sizes can bring maximal value. For example, we can also have AI assistants to tell the people that, hey, this is exactly what the doctor wanted you to do in terms of diet, in terms of medication, and in terms of exercise. And then he wanted you to come 2 months from now. So 3 days before the date, it's like, hey, you need to show up to the doctor. Would you like me to book an appointment for you? These are the small incremental changes which make a world of difference for the patients. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at a proactive and a predictive approach for the current and the future, right? Then, moving on to the doctors. I think this was very well spoken about today, how AI, in its ability to read a large amount of data and synthesize it, really takes down the administrative burden on a doctor and lets them focus on what they do best, which is give care to the patients. So this is not placing the onus on a manual process to identify like what are the rare symptoms they have, what is their past history. This takes away all of that burden and gives information to the doctor that is easily processable for them to provide care to the patient. So this improves patient satisfaction and also the doctor's output. Then to the hospitals. I think it was back in like 2016 or 2017 when our university was invited to do a project to reduce the turnaround time in a hospital because they were fully convinced that it has a direct correlation with the people's satisfaction, right? Now, AI is in a position where it is able to do that very seamlessly. All the administrative tasks back end, like handling the bed capacity, handling administrative tasks. When all of this is given to a system like AI, the hospital focus remains on who is the core, which is patients, and the care that is offered to them. And this really is a win-win situation for all stakeholders involved here. And then moving on to the insurance sector. Again, this was a topic that was widely discussed. But one of the things that we want to bring across is when someone is actually dealing with medical insurance and claims, it is in a dire situation in their life. So any small action that can make this experience more hassle-free for them will be widely appreciated. Like having insurance claims processed automatically so that the time is reduced. This is also a beneficial factor for the insurance company because this can reduce the number of false claims. And also this overall, there is a social good factor where there's obviously people satisfaction and also loyalty for the patients towards that insurance company, right? So this is building a sort of a little bit positive in a situation which is already dire. And the last is complementary service providers, such as pharmacies and diagnostics. So in terms of pharmacies, again, we're talking about small things like inventory management, where they can zero down on expired medication or when something is going to be expired. And in terms of diagnostics, if they're finding a way to reduce the cost per patient, these are very impactful value adds which AI can bring to the table for all of these stakeholders. Now, just to summarize, right, like when we talk about OASYS AI, these are the 5 parameters that we want to focus about, and any effort that we take is to satisfy, the aim is to satisfy all 5, but we aim to do 3 to 5 for any AI endeavor that we take. And we have a huge stall up there, so we are very excited for anybody who wants to stop by and talk to us more. Thank you.
Ms. Varunya, for covering on how AI services is impacting different stakeholders in right from patients, doctors to pharmacies, right? Thank you so much. I now request Navratan sir to hand over a token of appreciation to Ms. Varunya. Great. While this is going on, I would like to ask the audiences, how many of you have at least one medical device in your home? Right? Oh, that's a lot of us. I'm sure we have at least a small thermometer to diabetes testing machines or say different kinds of devices. And so far, we have seen AI in pharma, AI in drug discovery. Next, we are looking at AI in